Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 1 of the Leo cycle on AstroSoup. And wow, we got a lot to get to today. Already, we've hit Mercury retrograde. Well, it's stationing right now, and within the next hour, it's going to go direct. So I'm expecting the unexpected during this episode. Yeah, and we're hitting one right now. Which is okay, where am I supposed to begin again? Okay, so what I wanted to talk about today was intention. That's a word that's up until about 10 or 15 years ago had rather a mild reputation in the English language. And over the last little while, it's taken on a very important tone and a very serious tone. So where do I want to start? Well, I want to let you know we begin every day with intention. We have all kinds of intention. I intend to get out of bed. I intend to eat breakfast. And the list goes on. Now, having said that, part of the reason I'm talking about this is because later in the podcast, I am going to be doing a meditative exercise around the sun connecting to Jupiter about a week from now. And it's a very powerful connection. We call it Cazimi, which means Jupiter is in the heart of the sun, the heart of the lion, if you like. And so there's a lot of power associated with that. We're going to talk about that later in the podcast. And we're going to do a meditative exercise that allows you to form some kind of an intention or intend to form an intention. You could do that too. So, anyway, the bottom line is not all intentions are the same or created equal. Some intentions are connected to our daily functioning in life, like getting to work, making something to eat, hugging your kids, whatever. And then I guess you can, I don't want to say measure intentions, but you can tune into intentions in a way that allows you to see the magnitude of it because there's scale when it comes to intention. So intending to eat breakfast or make breakfast is not the same as intending to quit smoking or intending to change a habit that you think needs changing. And the reason why it's important to make those distinctions is A, first of all, to understand that we live our life with intention, sometimes on a subconscious and even unconscious level and a conscious level. When a really powerful, energetic opportunity presents itself, then that intention takes on the intensity and the depth of whatever energy you're tuning into. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that later in the podcast. But uh, as always, I like to share a story. So I'm not sure I've told this story before, but some intentions just pop into your head and they don't seem connected to your life, at least not at that moment in time. So when I was in second year university, I was majoring in French and minoring in English with the intention of becoming a translator. And then mononucleosis came along, and I was sleeping 18 hours a day. In fact, the desire to sleep was so intense that I had to make sure that I was within 5 minutes of my residence room because I was going to fall asleep. It didn't matter where I was. So anyway, so part of the upshot of that was to realize, oh, it wasn't a conscious process because one day it just, no, I went, I think I want to be a journalist. I don't think I want to be a translator. There was no, this was going on in my subconscious. It wasn't going on in my conscious mind. It just popped in and it really felt like, well, okay. That seemed a direction that suited me. So, meanwhile, my mother wanted me to be a teacher, which I did not want to do. And so I think I don't know. Anyways, I was good at languages, but I realized apparently I don't want to be interpreting other people's words. So, as it happens, that intention turned into a career. I was a journalist at Canada's fourth largest newspaper for 21 years, and I had some other time as a journalist. I can never exactly quantify exactly how long you would say I was a journalist. But that's an example of an intention that somehow comes from, if you want to call it your higher self, or a wiser part of yourself, or the part of you that just knows what your path in life is meant to be. The question is, are you listening? So when we go to the meditative exercise at the towards the end, you'll see what I mean. To be honest, I don't generally plan my meditations. They just come. So anyhow, so let's talk a little bit about Leo, or not a lot. Well, a little or a lot. My brain is really trying to keep track of all of the activity that this Leo cycle promises us. It's there's a lot, and especially in the next week. In addition to the sun moving into Leo, we have 5 separate important astrological events, and we're going to talk about that when we get to what's in the bowl. So you see, I'm tempting you to continue listening and watching. So what is Leo? Well, it's funny because I came across some notes that I had written, was part of a webinar I did a long time ago. And I was talking about the spiritual purpose, gift, and, geez, brain went sideways. I put it on a piece of paper.
Good job.
This is my prop right now. This is the only prop I have. It's a piece of paper. Anyway, so the spiritual purpose of Leo is to create. And we often think of create as something limited to the arts in some way, shape, or form. And we don't understand that living our life is the greatest act of creativity we will ever engage in. And so when the sun comes around to Leo every year, it's time to ask yourself, what is it that I am creating in my life, inside myself? Because sometimes we forget that what happens out there is not the entirety of your life. It's also what happens inside here. And this particular transit of Leo is really going to call upon us to go inward as much as express ourselves outwardly. So now the spiritual gift of Leo is playfulness. So when the sun's in Leo, it's time to play, whatever that means to you, whatever that looks like to you. It's funny because I was thinking about how much more access we have on a daily basis to play. I mean, how many of us pick up our phone and start playing something? And I mean, it can get out of hand. You spend too much time doing it. Of course, I'm sorry, that was a judgment. It's just recognizing that play is available to every individual now. Obviously, I mean, I can't speak to the number of people who have phones, but I'm pretty sure almost everybody does. The biggest challenge that parents face today is how old does their kid have to be before they get their own phone? Anyway, playing, it's like, hanging out, playing soccer with your kids, family game night. Play can be as simple as you dance in your living room, or you go out and play hopscotch, even if you're 35, if it's something that you like. Or if you're like Andy, part of her play is clowning. That's one of the things that she really loves to do.
That's so
So,
true.
yeah. And so, and I think I'm just going to say something about my friend Jennifer, who is with us on the podcast. I think one of her favorite forms of play is actually walking, because it's like she gets to see the world, she gets to see what's going on. So play is a really broad category. The bottom line is, does it bring you joy? Does it make you feel better in your life? Like, part of my play these days is doing stretches so that my body is happier with itself. So, and we're going to talk about the spiritual challenge of Leo energy when we get to the pitfalls, problems, and remediations section, which is later on in the episode. Okay, now I can stop. I did it three times. So, so this cycle through Leo brings a lot of intensity. It brings a huge, what's in play energetically right now is I have to remind ourselves, Leo is seeing ourselves as the raw material from which we live life, that we are raw material. We're not refined necessarily. We're not all the way there to where we go. When the sun goes through Leo, again, it's to remind us, what do we bring to the table from the essence of who we are? Because, of course, the sun is connected to essence and it's happiest in the sign of Leo. And so that is the time of year where we really take a look at whether we're living our essence, our truth, if you will. And so right now, the energy right now offers us opportunities like to combine passion, initiative, and intuition with curiosity and creativity. Now, there's an astrological definition for that, and I'm not going to bother to hurt you with it. It's just important to realize you're going to be feeling a lot, and it may feel like there's so much energy coming at you that you don't know what to do with it. Well, the key is just to, first of all, experience it. Sometimes we get a little bit antsy or uptight when things feel like our circuits are on overload. So the best thing you can do really just is just to find a calm, quiet place and just sit, whether it's under a tree, at your kitchen table, wherever it is you feel comfortable, so that you can just be for a second, because that's the other thing that Leo asks us to be, which is to just be, not necessarily do, just be. So having said all that, just going to switch gears for a minute and talk about what's coming up in the next little while, and then we're going to go more in depth to what's in the bowl. So on August the 6th, the next time when we do Leo 2, Colin Bedell will be my guest. We haven't determined exactly what we're going to be talking about, but I'm sure it's going to be entertaining, because Colin is one of the most entertaining people I know. If you'd ever seen him dance, you'd know what I was talking about. Anyway, the other thing is that fingers crossed, if Mercury, now that it's almost direct, cooperates, I'm going to be going live on YouTube for the first time.
Wow.
Well, you got to jump in at some point. And that's the other thing that Leo invites you to do, is to jump into something. Not without considering where it might take you, but just, it's not Aries energy where you jump before you jump before you look. Leo energy does tend to take a bit of a look before it leaps. And hope to be doing another edition of my newsletter coming up, in which I'm going to have some exclusive material, including Astro Insights to go with the Astro Bites, and delving a little bit more into the new moon, because you'll see when we get to what's in the bowl that there's so much going on. It's hard to do an in-depth dive into that new moon. I need to breathe, I think.
Part of staying alive.
Well, I guess we don't want me, to pass out. We're not getting to the death part, just to pass out. That's it. Anyway.
That would be a really juicy episode if you passed out.
Okay.
Don't do that, though.
I don't really want to. Actually, I did pass out once in an assembly when I was in grade 6. And it was in the gymnasium, and the floor was concrete. Geez, I realize I've hit my once in life. Anyway. Some people would say it failed to knock any sense into me, but I disagree. Enough. So next up, what's in the bowl? And I think I was just giving myself a bit of a break there because there's so much to talk about. As I said before, I think I said before, not just the sun in Leo, but let's well, I'm just going to enumerate all of them, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about each one. So yesterday the sun went into Leo. Today, Mercury stations to go direct in about an hour. Then on Saturday, we get a whole day off. Saturn goes retrograde in Aries. On the same day, the moon's nodal axis, which is connected to growth, one end of it is connected to growth, and the other end is connected to what I like to call your default position, the thing that comes so naturally to you, don't even think about it. The nodal axis moves, the north node, which is growth, moves into Aquarius, and the south node, which is Leo. And that's the default position. We're going to talk a little bit about that in a bit. Then, oh my God, that's on Sunday. Oh, actually, we get 2 days off. I was wrong. Those two things happen on Sunday. Sorry, they don't happen on Saturday. Everything seems so scrunched up. Then on Wednesday, sorry, that's when we have that wonderful Sun-Jupiter conjunction, what we call Cazimi, being in the heart of the sun. Then on the following day, we have the new moon in Aquarius. So if you feel like your head's going to spin out of control, never mind just your head, because the kind of energy coming at us, challenging us in many respects, is going to require that we really, like I said, breathe and sit quietly. Whether it's a meditation or not, it doesn't matter. You just need to sit and breathe, because in the process of doing that, in the breathing process, you connect your head and your body, your mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual channels need to come into some kind of alignment. Otherwise, you're going to feel like everything is way out of control. And of course, I'm always fond of saying that control is an illusion anyway. All you can do is take charge of your reality. So when I say sit and be quiet, that's you taking charge so your system doesn't get overloaded. If you want to have a bath, whatever you think will keep you calm, so that, and you don't need to process all this energy all at once, because I'm not sure that it's possible. I think it's, again, riding a wave. This can feel like a tsunami of energy just because things are happening in such quick succession. And each of them is important in its own way. Just a note, I'm going to talk about the new moon, but as far as the full moon, as far as the new moon is concerned, I'll be talking about that in episode 2, because that's a total solar eclipse, and it deserves to be talked about at length all by itself, because it's a really intense one. So where to begin? So Mercury stationing to go direct. Well, when a planet stations, its energy is actually intensified because it's not moving. So as you feel this Mercury station, it's time to ask yourself, what have you done to nurture yourself mentally? What thoughts have been bouncing around in your head? What things have been turning over and over and over again? Because a station to go direct means you get any recalibration or reassessment that you did while Mercury was retrograde was about your emotional well-being, about your emotional center. Now the mind and the mind and the emotion don't always speak the same language. So of course, Mercury in Cancer by nature is not the most comfortable place for it to be. However, you still need to take the time to see any resentments that you have. Are you letting them go? Have your emotional circuits been overloaded and you can't apply your mind to them? Well, then if that's the case, then because currently the moon's in Scorpio, just let them go. Because obsessing over them isn't going to change any overload that you're going through, because that's what Mercury in Cancer, it's trying to find a way to express in a linear, logical way something that is not linear and not logical. So there's that. So then we get a break until Sunday, and then Saturn stations to go retrograde. So Saturn is in charge of our physical reality. And when he appears to change course and go backwards, because of course we know, if we know anything about the solar system at all, planets do not back up. It's just they appear to back up in terms of their relationship with Earth and the beings that live on it. So Saturn in Aries by nature is not a happy place for Saturn to be. It really doesn't like energy that's quite that impulsive. So the challenge with Saturn in Aries is for us to find a way to focus all that Aries energy and create something tangible. So what happens when it goes retrograde? Well, it may be a time to reassess, where you're going, what you thought you were going to accomplish, because Aries is always in motion in one way or another. So, and a period of retrograde is the ebb part of the process, not the flow. So if you're looking externally it doesn't mean you can't keep working on something that you already started. There might be need for you to take a further examination. It just means it's not really the best time to change a lot of things in terms of your external reality. You need some sense of calm, because fire signs are loud and they burn hot. And of course, Saturn is not like that. So trying to balance that energy can be a difficult time. So during the retrograde, you can take some time to figure out exactly what it is you want to do with this Saturn in Aries. And then on the same day, the nodal axis shifts, as I said before. And so put something down, and I'm going to, don't know what to do with it. My brain is blank for the moment. So Aquarius energy is about change, and Leo energy is about change. It's about being outside the box. So the question is, and with Leo's a fixed sign as well, and it's kind of like, well, I'm comfortable with where I am. So the question is, are you prepared? And I don't mean this isn't just something that affects one person, it affects the whole planet. So we need to see some productive change in the world that's based on both objectivity and love and compassion, not one or the other, but both. But the question for the individual is, are you comfortable? Are you so comfortable you're unwilling to look to see what in your life might require some change? Because Aquarius is always about what's outside the box. Then we have how many days off? We have another 2 days off. Count. And then we have that Sun Jupiter coming together, Jupiter in the heart of the Sun. Now, often people say that is the luckiest day of the year. Well, it depends on what you think, and whether you're prepared to create your own luck. There has to be some intention in it. Again, there's Jupiter in Leo truly is about taking a risk on yourself. So if you put it in the heart of the Sun in Leo, that amplifies that. It wants to expand the call to really risk on yourself and to know yourself, to find wisdom in yourself, not necessarily from external sources. It's an invitation to know yourself. And there's a lot of abundance in being yourself and knowing yourself, because everything springs from what's within you, not necessarily from what's outside you. So, oh yes. So I did write this down. Are we creating a reflection of the tried and true? Talking about the nodal axis, or does it contain scenes of powerful change? And we see this at play in our external world quite frequently. And then finally, my head already hurts. Maybe because I've been thinking about this for 3 days.
You put your head in the bowl.
Oh my God.
It's dangerous.
It's a good thing I didn't drown then. Anyway, so the new moon in Aquarius. Well, that's going to amplify that energy I was talking about, the passion, the initiation, intuition, curiosity, and creative part. It's going to amplify it. And it's going to call on us to really begin to tune into that shift of the nodal axis. So, realizing that it really, for me, connects to that I Ching saying, and I'm just paraphrasing, that you cannot change the world unless you're prepared to change yourself. So this new moon really does kick off that nodal axis shift in a way that allows us to see possibilities, potentials. Aquarius is often quite an idealistic sign. And one of the reasons it gets a reputation for not liking humanity or not liking people is because its expectations don't always deal with reality. Because, idealism, I always call myself a practical idealist. Idealism is important, but you also have to be practical about what is actually doable step by step, as opposed to, if we have a protest, everything will change overnight, and that's not how humans work. So again, this is quite a powerful full moon. It gets to see, do you know how to create an integration between, because what you know to be true about yourself, that's not supposed to change, but can you expand it beyond what you know to see greater potential in yourself? And of course, because Jupiter's hanging around there, it just makes it so much bigger. Like, during this period of time, we could all have some delusions of grandeur if we're not careful. Would you agree, Andy?
That Jupiter and Leo can give us delusions of grandeur?
Although during this new moon with that powerful Sun Jupiter conjunction, the moon opposing it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think if you look at it even chakrically, that it would make the solar plexus chakra of people very, very strong, like the will chakra. So, it's almost like we're a little too powerful for our own britches,
Yes.
which of course there could be good things about that, but yeah, it could be, I could see where it could be over amped up or something.
And we're going to move on right now because to colored parts. And I think that I've said this before, but one of the ways I really truly connect to wisdom is through the use of oracle cards. Especially, and this might be really important right now, if you have a deck of any kind of oracle card, I have lots. Animals, um, I've got one called Gaia, I've got lots. And the color ones, it's an opportunity to connect to yourself and bring yourself into yourself so that you don't get so overwhelmed by external stuff. So the first one I picked, I was a little surprised. It's mauve and it says enjoy clear hearing. And I thought, what the hell does that mean? And then I realized it's very much connected to listening to yourself. Cut out all the noise you hear from other people. Again, one of the benefits of sitting quietly, you can actually hear yourself. The other one is watermelon. And it seems appropriate. Have fun with your inner child because it goes along with the playful aspect of the sign of Leo. And honestly, like isn't watermelon one of the things that kids like the most?
Hmm. Yeah.
So, I mean,
I'm
heck,
eating
you
a
can,
watermelon every day. Sorry.
well, there you go. And if you really want to, you can, if you love watermelon, eat watermelon. But think of something every day. And laughter is important. Like I've just been rewatching every episode of Ted Lasso because it makes me laugh. And laughter is very much a Leo thing in my mind. Because where does it come from? It comes from um, playing. Laughter comes from playing and engaging. That's just my opinion. And if nobody agrees with me, I don't care. Did I just say that? Yes, I did. Okay, where are we at now? Oh, guess where? We're at pitfalls, problems, and potential problems and remediation. And we kind of just alluded to it. So, what are some of the pitfalls and potential problems? Again, um, getting too wound up in your own ego. It's one thing to show up as a gift to the world. And of course, first you need to be a gift to yourself. But, you know, one of the challenges we're going to face is the South Node goes through Leo. So this is an 18-month cycle. And it's interesting that this begins with the sun in Leo, which really emphasizes you got to be careful about assuming that the rules do not apply to you because that also can connect to that Aquarius energy because it doesn't always like rules. So the key becomes, but there are certain universal truths that we need to pay attention to, and that is there are consequences. There are always consequences, which is something else to think about when Saturn's retrograde in Aries. What are the consequences of choices that you've made, maybe making or actions that you've taken? So so hubris is one of them. Feeling delusions of grandeur, that you're more important than, and it doesn't mean it's whole, we could run into trouble with the hierarchy because it's not that you're less important than people, but you're not more important than them either.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that whole nodal axis really is really going to challenge the hierarchy
Mhm.
for the next 18, 17 to 18 months. What do you think are some of, and pride? Comment, you have something to say about pride, Andy?
Well, it's interesting. I don't know. Do you know who Justin Jedlicka is, the human Ken doll? He is a sun in Leo, conjunct the North Node in Leo, and whatever we have conjunct the North Node expands it. And he's this human Ken doll where he's had all these plastic surgeries to, implant all these things into his body. And he likes to be looked at and adored for being just merely existing, honestly. I think one of the downfalls is the pride around just existing and not necessarily being excellent, right? It's like I think
Contributing anything
what is it?
or not contributing. I just have to stand here and that.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, if we look to the opposite side of Aquarius, which is very theoretical and very mental, I think the Aquarius side really gives us a lot of theoretics to work with and a lot of mental work and things like that. So in remediation, I think sometimes we do something where we give the energy an outlet that's positive. So for example, giving all the Leo energy an outlet that might be contributing something to the world, like being in a play or performing something or getting up on stage to do something that benefits all people together, that would be a very good Leo act. I
Or
think,
I was going to say, or possibly just going out and playing soccer with, like getting that energy up and out so it doesn't coalesce in your body to the point where you can't, you only focus on yourself.
yeah. I mean, if we want to take a real balancing effect and try to tamper some of the Leo, we could wear Saturnian stones and metals and things like that because, Saturn's, Aquarius, the Saturn world sun is opposite to Leo. So, we often look to the opposite to balance out. So you could wear a lead belt right now. I know you really can't do that, but, or you could wear some, a Saturn symbol or wear black, like, a Saturnian color to tamper out all that orange and gold in the system right now. It's just like trying to balance it would be another thing.
Well, yeah, and integration it is often a challenge, and it really is a time to but also, I mean, Leo, make celebrate yourself in healthy ways. In other
Hmm.
words, instead of walking into a room and demanding attention,
Hmm.
you just walk into the room and you be yourself. That
Makes me think of this thing I made for our zine. It says, welcome, it says Jupiter and Leo, welcome to the circus. And in the circus, everyone has an act, right? Like they're all doing something special. And I think that would be, even there's a card reader, and here's a lion, obviously, but it's like having an act is very Leo on the highest realm. Um,
and being true to your own nature. Like if you're like me, one of the ways I'm gonna celebrate that energy is I'm gonna write something for the zine. I'm
yes,
Jupiter and
yes.
Leo because I love to write, and that's a real creative expression of who I am. So yeah, it's important to remediate. You can take some time to look at the things that you really identify as being close to your heart, the things
Mhm.
that you really love, not just people, but things about yourself that you love, or things about what you like to do. I've always been blessed in my life to do, for my in quotes career, to be things that I love to do.
Mm.
It's not perfect all the time, but then what is?
One thing I love to do is crafts, and look, I'm making this
Yes.
line.
Oh, yes, I forgot it. Yeah. You have lots of ways to play.
Yes.
You should be giving lessons in that. You should be giving lessons in that.
I live in the play factory. No, I
You
don't.
live in
I actually have Saturn and Leo, and I've had to learn how to be Leonian actually. So I think pulling up your pants and standing up and being, strong in backbone is a very good expression of Leo. We could call it backboning.
uh, well, and the other thing, talking a little bit more about pride before we move on, is recognizing it's important to be proud of yourself, but not to the exclusion of everything and everybody else.
Mhm.
If being proud, being so prideful that you that you think that you don't have regular bodily functions like other people, or that, yeah, that somehow you're not a statue, you're a human, and which means that you have the potential for all of the things that make us human. So pride can get in your way, and no, I can identify with that. I don't know that my pride got me in the way, but my pride kept me from abandoning the things I love to do and just going to get a job working in a retail store. My pride went, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I feel like excellence is a very Saturnian thing. If we're looking at the theory of
Yeah.
opposites, it's like really excellent and in that way shine. I do think the Sun Jupiter conjunction is a really good time for people to build themselves up to then integrate into the group. So we can, work on making super groups at this point where everyone gets developed individually for the good of the group. And that's very much the Jupiter opposite Pluto in Aquarius.
Okay. So my bra strap decided it was time to show everybody that I'm human. Because I tried to put it back, but it won't go back. So anyway, okay, so I can't believe it. I'm actually managing time rather well today, which is normally not my groove, not my vibe. So now we're going to move on to that segment I call plumbing the depths, and often a meditative exercise is part of that. So the Sun Jupiter coming together is a magnificent opportunity to create. And of course, it's going to fall in everybody's chart in a different way because every person has all signs of the zodiac in their birth chart. So whenever the sun is going through a sign, you're going to feel it somewhere in your life. And wherever Leo is, no matter what sign your sun is actually in, whether it's Leo or not, it's going to light up that particular part of your life. And so pay attention to the things that you feel are lighting you up, because those are the things that you have the opportunity to expand and to give greater space to in your life. And if that includes yourself, now, of course, if you, for instance, if you're like me and um, it's going to be in a house in my chart that has to do with um, intuition, and so I might experience more or different kinds of intuitive experiences. If it happens to be, say, in your first house, which is your physical body, watch what you're eating, because you may find yourself eating more than you intended to, and so on and so on. But I'd like setting an intention for this kind of experience is important. And I mean, you can wait until the day of, or you can do it 2 days do it when it calls to you, setting that intention. So I think that what I'm going to do with this meditative exercise is, as always, I'm going to ask you first to go to your safe place. It's always much easier to start from a place where you feel safe, no matter what that looks like. And then I'm going to invite you in the meditative exercise to see what reveals itself in terms of where you might want to set that intention. And if the intention shows up, all the better. And if the intention shows up, then either on the day of or even the day before, you can, whenever you're called to, you can sit down, you can write it down. You can write down your intention, you can meditate on it, do with your intention whatever you feel is important. If it means going for a walk and processing it everybody has different ways of processing information. And it's important that you recognize that. So I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. And I want you to take a number of comfortable breaths. Feel yourself sinking into your body and feeling the calmness that comes from connecting to your core. Knowing that this space is sacred and safe. So as you stand or sit or in your safe space, your safe place, take a look around. Has anything changed? Do you see a glimmer of light in a place you didn't expect to see it? That's the sun Jupiter calling to you to find, experience, connect to some great potential, some great abundance that is about to enter your life, provided you have an open heart and an open mind. Feel that energy. Feel your breath. Find your core and see the beautiful light that exists inside you, that fuels everything that you do in life. And ask it to burn brighter and bring you an intention that will connect you to spirit, to generosity, to joy, to meaning. And as you let that energy settle into all levels of consciousness, welcome it with a smile and a sense of joy. And when you're ready, I want you to open your eyes and come back into your body. Okay. Well, that calmed me down so much. I think I want to go to sleep, but
Sleeping is playing.
it is. Yeah. So just give it a moment. And now we're going to talk a little, going to share the astro bites for the Leo cycle with you. And I'm going to read them. My second prop. Actually, it's going to be second and third because it's on 2 pages. So for Aries, it's restrained. For Taurus, it's nurture. For Gemini, it's consider. For Cancer, it's immerse. For Leo, it's remember. For Virgo, it's connect. For Libra, it's decide. Oh, I have to tell you a funny story. So one of my friends, she's a Virgo. I was a little worried last month because the word was sort. And I said, I didn't know how you'd feel about it because it seemed so Virgoan, right? She said, it's funny, she said, because when I read it, I was actually sorting things out. That made me laugh. So, anyways, if you guys have any stories you'd like to share with me, you can send them to me at AquariusStellium@outlook.com. Anyway, Scorpio is emerge, Sagittarius is strengthen, Capricorn is regroup, Aquarius is begin, and Pisces is organize. Now, again, these words can be like a mantra. You can use them in meditation. You can use them in a visual affirmation. You can use them, you can create your own verbal affirmation with that word in it and let it speak to you so that what you create, which is why I don't create an entire affirmation, is because each person is going to interpret or connect to that word in a different way. And so it's important that you reflect your authenticity. And again, just one more plug for my newsletter because I'm going to have some astro insights that help illuminate the astrobite a little bit more. And all you need to do is sign up for my newsletter. And as I said before, because I haven't got that part organized yet, just email me at AquariusStellium@outlook.com and I will add you to my subscribers. Oh, oh my God. Okay. Any last words, Andy, about Leo?
Geez, shine on. Have the best month. Just
Oh, I'm so glad I because such a catalyst for me, Andy. What I wanted to say is shine on your inner self. That's what we're being asked to do. Shine on your inner self. It's not it's having inner confidence in yourself because if that's where confidence really begins. It's an inside job, which is always funny because I have some insecurities of my own. And yeah, people always think I'm really, really confident. I'm going, what are you talking about? So your outer reality and your inner reality can be quite different. Anyway, yeah, so take time. Take time for yourself. I mean, Leo is also just about being. I mean, because the sun is about being. You came here to be yourself and express yourself. And Leo is about being able to express the core of who you are. So it doesn't matter which sun sign you're in. You're in process of always learning to be, which I know sounds strange because we think, well, body, I'm here, I be. Well, maybe, maybe not. That's an existential question. Okay, I don't know where that came from. I can't believe it. I'm going to finish early. What happened?
oh, I don't know what happened. I think you were succinct and and organized.
Oh my God. It's not hope. Anyways, I can make that. My intention is I can make that work. Okay, so I always like to end with some either an inspirational quote or a funny one. And so this is a segment I like to call Wrap It Up. Um, and this just made me laugh out loud, so I hope it makes everybody else laugh. Do what you love, unless what you love is lying in the dark eating cheese. In which case, maybe just do that on weekends. Now, of course, we don't know who actually said that, which is really too bad because they should get some credit. It's hard to be unknown. Anyway, anyway, thanks again, everyone, for joining me. Episode 2 of the Leo cycle will be on August the 6th. Currently, I don't remember what time we're doing this. Actually, I think it's 1:30 p.m. Pacific time, 2:30 p.m. Mountain time, and 4:30 Eastern time. I think that's when it is.
3 p.m. Pacific time.
Oh, I lied. I thought that was, oh, we're doing it at the same time we did this one?
Yeah.
I lied. Okay. I apologize. What a way to end with me lying and apologizing. Thanks
But
again, everyone. See you next time. And until next time, be true to yourself.